You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming, and something out Twitter the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you to the Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir, Leigh's Path. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up and let's go. At the mention of Mercy's name, there's a distinct drop in mood from the bear. It's not enough to completely remove that gentleness, but there's a sadness flowing through her features. Oh dear, I wasn't expecting to be hearing that name today. Can I ask why? This time Leigh looks in my direction, letting me take back over the conversation. He's already done enough, so I can't complain. He opened the door for me. We had to do a group project on recent tragedies so we can handle them in a respectful manner. After seeing that Mercedes used to volunteer here, Leigh mentioned we should come talk to you. The bear raises her eyebrow and her eyes slide over to the possum, who's now looking down at his knees. Shame has completely swarmed his face, oozing from his nearly closed eyes. I'm sorry that the first time I've come back is to ask a favor. I always meant to, but I wanted to put it all behind me. And Charlie shouldn't have to remember. His words fade away as Miss Corin places her hand on his cheek. Her touch looks so soft, like she's handling the most delicate flower. That smile that's been adorning her face has still never left. I'm not upset that you never came back. The only thing I never wanted was for you to be... that I only ever wanted was for you to be happy. You've grown, but sometimes growing isn't always a good thing. You might just lose yourself along the way. Huh? When you three came through those doors, did Charlie seem upset? She certainly didn't sound it to me. She's happy to see some familiar faces, wouldn't you agree? Leigh doesn't say or do anything but give her a small nod, not able to bring his eyes up. It's hard to see him like this, and I can tell that Mrs. Corin is feeling the same way. I know you had to grow up fast, and I'm proud of this handsome, respectable man you've grown into. Your sister is more capable than you think, and you deserve just as much happiness as she does. Leigh still doesn't budge. Miss Corin meets my gaze and nods down to Leigh's hand, which he just used to reassure me and is now resting limp on his knee. Following her lead, I reach over to lay my hand on top of his. There's no pressure or grip, just a lingering reminder of my presence, that I'm here for him. It's enough to particularly knock him out of whatever stupor he's fallen into and stare over to me, his expression one of bewilderment, like he's totally forgot that I was here with the two of them. Kid. Kid? Now hang on a moment. Now what do you do calling this young gentleman here that? He's... Ow! His sentence is interrupted by the bear lightly smacking the top of Leigh's head with what looks to be a rolled-up magazine that she pulled out of nowhere. It wasn't hard enough to hurt, but maybe to leave Leigh reeling in disbelief. You're here calling Wallace that when all I can see in front of me is two young men who are just starting their adult lives. You're both still kids to me. Look, don't be in such a rush to grow up. Both of us are left speechless as Miss Corin unravels the magazine and places it on a small table next to her that's mostly concealed by her chair. Now, back to what you're here for. I'm assuming you know about what happened to Helena, and after all, why would you be here otherwise? Yes, we know all about that. Well, as much as we can. The news reports on it were pretty scarce in details. Second, more time. They were. I tried asking for more, but they couldn't give me any. These poor young people had their lives snuffed out, and no one knows why. I tried to get in contact with their parents, but I had no luck. They wouldn't talk to me. It leaves them out of the question, not that I planned on trying to get in contact with them. There's something tasteless about trying to ask a parent about their dead child. I wouldn't want to ever put someone through that. We were hoping we could learn more about Mercy and Helena. Do you think you could tell us anything about them? They sounded really close from what we know. Miss Corin just leans back and rubs her claws to the fur surrounding her chin. Her eyes are closed and her expression is giving nothing away, making it hard to tell if I've overstepped my boundaries. You don't have to if you don't want to. I understand that this is... No, it's okay. I'm just thinking back to the first day she arrived. It was only last year, but it felt much longer. What was she coming to help with? We'd get a lot of young people coming to help out. Since a lot of the kids were here due to homophobic or transphobic parents, a lot of the people who'd come to help out were young queer students who had friends here. They'd help alongside some of our older kids. Leigh was very popular with the younger teens and kids. Most of them are still around, though not much longer for some. What do the volunteers do? They mostly just came around on weekends when there wasn't school and helped around with little things. Sometimes we'd organize little group activities or they'd just help run things. Sunday was always cleanup day for most of us. A lot of the younger kids would cause a mess. I've painted the fence more times than I can remember. We don't tend to get a lot of them, only a few high school kids every year, if that. A lot of the time I'm relying on the older kids to help out. But you had Mercy last year? Yes, she and Helena would often come down to help out together. I'd see Mercedes every Saturday, but Helena would come every couple weeks or so. Did any of Helena's other friends come too? Miss Corin just shakes her head, and there's a sorrow in her eyes that makes me think there's a bit more going on here than I thought. No, it was just her and Mercedes. No one else came. Eventually, Helena stopped coming too. I think the girls got into a fight, the poor things. A fight? Did something happen here? No, Helena just stopped coming, and Mercedes seemed a lot sadder after that. I tried talking to her, but she wouldn't talk to me about it. I have a good idea what happened, but I'd rather not say. You don't have to tell us. Lee's eyes look over to me, and the message from them is clear. Let this go. I wasn't planning on pushing her on it anyway, but this just solidifies it. Thank you. I can tell you more about her as I knew her, however. She was a lovely young girl, always so enthusiastic to help. Did she know anyone that we can talk to? The only people who came to help were those who knew someone here. No, she didn't know anyone. After all, she just moved here for college. When she arrived not a week after that new school semester started, I asked her how she found us. Do you know what she said? What? She just said that she heard about what I'd been doing and wanted to help. That's all. I believe her, too. I've never had any volunteers who had just heard about us before, but she had. But you still believe her? Yes, I do. I'm no expert on the situation, but it's clear there's something more to Mercy's story, and I wouldn't be surprised if Miss Corin had an idea as to what that is as well. Whatever she's hiding, it's not for any malicious reasons. It must be something that she knew that Mercy wouldn't want people to know, so she's respecting her wishes. I have to respect that as well. Did you ever meet Helena personally? This time Leigh steps up to change the topic. It's strange to see Leigh taking such an active role in a conversation where there's people outside of Charlie and myself, but he's probably much closer to Miss Corin than he is to me. Yes, a couple of times. Not as much as I'd like to, though. I wish I tried harder to get to know her more. Maybe I would have noticed what went wrong. I wish I had given Mercy that one last shove. Give Mercy one last shove? I was getting there, dear. Hold your horses. Sorry, ma'am. Didn't mean to brush you. Oh, don't call me ma'am. I already feel old enough as it is. No need to rub it in. I told you, it's Bethany. I'm sorry, Bethany. Better. Despite what she wants, it's hard to imagine her as anything other than Miss Corin, and I didn't even grow up calling her that like Leigh and Charlie did. The regal disposition she radiates makes you want to treat her with the respect that she deserves, even if it's some that she doesn't want. As I was saying before I was so adorably interrupted, Helena only ever came with Mercedes. She never visited by herself, and I don't think she got along with many of the kids that well. I don't think she disliked them or anything, but she just didn't have the interest or drive that her friend did. Not that I can blame her. I know when I was a teenager, I would have hated spending my free time doing charity work. But one day, Helena just stopped showing up, and Mercedes wasn't quite herself after that. She wouldn't socialize with the kids as much as she used to. I tried asking her what's wrong, but she would just make up an excuse. Do you have any idea what actually happened? I think something bad happened between her and Helena. Something really bad. I said Helena never came by herself, but that isn't entirely true. She came alone once after all this happened. She said she was trying to find Mercedes and left after she didn't find her. Leigh and I look at each other, our confused expressions mirroring each other. Just what happened between the two of them that Helena was actively trying to hunt Mercy down? Was she angry at her? She was upset, but I don't think she was angry. She looked confused and hurt. It's only a day or two after Mercedes started acting differently and coming alone, so whatever happened between them must have been fresh. I'm sorry to ask this, but do you know how long this was before the incident? It's okay, dear. I'm not her mother. Well, this is tragic, and I wish those two girls would still be here, but I got too many lost souls to be caught up on those two. The incident happened only a week afterwards. Just a week? Do you think this had anything to do with what caused it? The news said Mercedes slept with Helena's boyfriend. It lines up with how they were both acting. She felt guilty for betraying her friend, and Helena felt betrayed. Miss Corin just shakes her head. There's no doubt or hesitation in her form whatsoever. I don't think so. Mercedes would talk a lot, and she'd always go on and on about how much she adored Helena and how much she didn't trust her boyfriend. I can't see her doing something like that. So you think it was something different? I know it was. I'm certain it was something Mercedes did, but I don't think she meant to hurt Helena. She thought too highly of her for that. I think she messed up and got scared. I don't think the girls ever talked. Never? Never. I approached her one afternoon before she left, and most of the kids were busy. I asked her what was wrong between her and Helena. She tried to make some excuses, but I reassured her she didn't have to tell me what happened. She told me that she screwed everything up and that she was scared to talk to her, and I told her to give it some time for both of them. It was the biggest mistake of my life. It's not fair. You didn't know what was going to happen. This might not have solved anything. I don't know about that. When Helena came looking for her, she looked so desperate and alone. I don't know that girl well, but I think she truly had nobody at the time. If she had just had her best friend, maybe things would be different. Miss Corin has long since given up maintaining eye contact with the two of us, opting to focus on the many photos adorning the wall, taking care to make sure her glasses don't fall off. There's pain in her eyes, but also acceptance. It's the wisdom that comes from living a long life. I used to think Leigh had this same look, but now I can see he truly is younger than he acts. If you don't mind, dear, I think that's enough of this for one day. It's getting a little late, and I wanted to have a talk with Leigh, if that's possible. Leigh, who's gotten progressively quieter over the course of the conversation, perks up at the sound of his name. He looks to have been lost in thought just as much as the rest of us. I'll have to probe his head for what he thinks of all this later. Of course. You've been more than helpful with all this. You've given us a lot to think about. Did you want some privacy? Yes, please. Oh, don't look so nervous. I'm only checking in on how things are going. You never visit. There's a lot to catch up on. I'm sorry. Oh, I told you, dear. I understand. Now, Wallace, scurry along. Go find Charlie. She'd be more than happy to give you a tour of the house. All right, thank you again for everything. Both now and for what you've done for Leigh and his sister. Of course. How could I have left such a gentle soul out to dry? Leigh just huffs and folds his arms once again, that familiar pink stain returning to his ears and nose. She truly knows how to push his buttons in a way only a caregiver can. But for now, this is private between the two of them. I'll do what she says and find Charlie. Who knows, maybe some people around here know something about Mercedes and Helena, too. Bethany didn't waste a single second as Wallace closes the door. Oh, okay. Bethany didn't waste a single second as Wallace closes the door, opting to take off her reading glasses and put them onto the tiny table next to her. She'd always do this whenever she'd take one of us aside to talk. You never knew until it started whether or not she was scolding you or just giving you a friendly chat. Even after all these years, I can still feel that shiver of nervousness in my spine. I thought I'd gotten long past this point in my life, but being in here with her in this house that always smells old, it's like I've been sent back to high school all over again. But Bethany gives me that smile she always did when she was worried about you. I see it a lot whenever I returned with some guy whose name I never knew. Oh yeah. That's the stuff right there. She never disapproved or scolded me for sleeping around, but I always felt guilty about letting her down. I've grown up and I'm making a life for myself and Charlie, but here I am, feeling like a child again. So, Ashley, sorry, I'm still getting used to this. Leigh, let's talk. We've got a lot to discuss. What did you want to discuss, Bethany? I don't think I'll ever get used to calling her that. I've known her as Miss Corin for a better part of my life, and I don't think I've ever knew her name first. Ever knew her first name. She was always just Miss Corin to us. No need to be so serious all the time. You were always so stubborn talking about yourself when others are around, and I can tell that you never had meant anything around that boy. You're quite smitten with the boy. It's not like that. Oh, isn't it? Should I ask Charlie if that's true? I bet you tell her all sorts of things about him. You never were able to hold yourself back when it comes to her. I don't even justify that with a response because we both know the answer to that. I've always been honest with Charlie, and she knows more secrets about me than anyone in the world needs to know. He's just a kid. The eyebrow she raises tells me more than any words ever could, and I'm sent back to high school as she'd take me aside to scold me whenever I do something to make her worry. Mostly bringing her unsavory characters home to sleep with. I can see in her eyes that she's considering calling me out again, because we both know that that's just an excuse at this point, but it's true. Wallace is just a kid, and it would be irresponsible for me to act on anything, even if he is very cute. At least I hope it's true. There's times when he acts so naive about the world that it makes me want to hide him away from everything and keep him safe, but then there's times when he challenges my view of him and defies all my expectations. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Gotta get ready for work. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all if I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you for going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to our gold tier patron, Trezum Guy. You're awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work content as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.